Hi there, Amanda. How are you? Good to speak with you. How are things?
Doing good. How are you?
Very, very, very well. And well, look at you.
There we go.
Fantastic. Such energy. Oh, wow. Okay. We have to just like roll it all the way back. So, Amanda, I'm just going to come right out the gate with this. As I mentioned, like, actually, thank you for being who you are and doing what you do. Like, actually.
Sure.
So
thank you.
Yes, please take all of that in. You are, I think, the most tireless on-camera Zelda-ologist on the internet. Like, let's just be honest, right?
I mean, I'll take it.
Okay,
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Has to be said, and a beautiful inner and outer, as I like to say. It's just my fiance and I, we are always like, probably if you saw episode 2, it's like, just tell someone if they're beautiful, inner and outer, just tell it, and then just go from there.
That's awesome.
Okay, beautiful. So you must probably do something with, I don't know if you do something with like health or like I'm going to guess volleyball or something, right?
Kung Fu.
Kung Fu, excellent.
Yeah.
So I just knew there's because I'm a PT from coming out of the army.
Yeah.
That's right. So I just like can sort of pick up on it's like, that's an athletic person.
Oh, yay. Yeah, I do Kung Fu. I'm testing for my next level in like 2 months. And then I get to test for black right after that.
Well,
so I'm like one step from black belt.
Question, and this is not arrogance, but is it really a test when it's a certain outcome? Like you're gonna nail it? So
basically what they do is the evaluation is more or less the test. And then when you do the test, that's kind of like the formal thing of like, okay, by the time you're testing, they're not gonna let you test unless like you will pass it.
Gotcha.
Sort of thing. So it's like all the formal like, so that's more of a formality, but like making sure you are ready to test, that's the real test. Pretty much the only way you can fail the test is to walk off the floor.
Oh, well, there you go. And see, I kind of knew there to be that because I did Taekwondo and like a bit of the wushu because I was all the way into, I'm sure you can probably pick up on the self-designed tattoo stuff. I am a baby of the 90s where, Amanda, let me take you all the way back. I don't know, you might be probably younger than me. But
I don't know. I'm a lot older than I look. I'm 35.
Oh, stop it. All right. So aging backwards, you're a vampire like my fiance. Just like
there we go. Perfect.
There you go. So back in the 90s, there was just a certain chunk of years where there was like, if you look at Oddworld in the like probably like the late 90s, mid to late 90s, like Oddworld, there was Abe from Abe's Odyssey had a certain kind of spikiness, tribality, right?
Oh, yeah. I remember that whole style. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you had also the Legacy of Kain and all those symbols like that. And then, obviously Darth Maul and stuff. So my thing of it, though, is because when I started designing my own and like this kind of stuff here, based on the, there you go, boom, showing a bit of
it.
There you go. And basically it sort of started from that place of like curiosity with those shapes, I guess, and like having grown up around those shapes, Darth Maul, whatever. But then I actually discovered this thing. You should look it up. It's called morphogenesis. And it is basically like the scientific word for the manner in which all of patterns are created. And
well, that's cool.
I know. And then that goes into sort of the unified field stuff, like the same reason like capillaries in your eyes resemble like cracks in the ground, like they follow the same patterns. And so I'm all up in that. Like that's the most resonant part of like what I do with my quantum myth and my storytelling. And wouldn't you like when we started getting the teasers for Breath of the Wild, you've probably seen it in our like I just did some pull-ups, by the way. That's why I'm a bit out of breath. There's the pull-up bar behind me. I think you can see it maybe.
Nice.
There you go. Yeah.
Nice.
Fun. And basically, they that first tease of you see these swirling patterns. And I was like, oh wow, I'm being spoken to as like directly with who I am. Like, and now I'm actually gonna throw that to you, Amanda.
Okay.
I don't want to do the roach sort of bog standard questions, but it is your debut on the Zelda podcast. You're also completing our Triforce of first 3 episodes. Thank you.
Yes.
You're also another A name, Amanda. So it's like Abby, Amanda, Adam, Albert. It's great.
Perfect. The A team. We got the A team going on here.
You are making us the A team for sure. So if you wanted to just give us, I suppose, your Zelda ID, and then I'll go into more sort of idiosyncratic questions from there. Go for it.
Okay. Like what do you mean, my Zelda ID?
Oh, Zelda ID. I guess it would sort of be like, favorite Zelda character, favorite Zelda game, how I got into.
Okay, yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I first got into Zelda by reading about it just in Nintendo Power, and then I got Ocarina of Time when I was in the 7th grade. I saved my money, and my dad took me to KB Toys so I could buy it with my own money. So I was very proud of it. And like I would get in trouble at school for reading my Ocarina of Time book instead of whatever boring crap they wanted me to read. I'm like, but I don't want to read Little Women. I want to read Ocarina of Time. Like, I want to read that. And then it just kind of went from there. Ocarina was like my favorite for the longest time, and then Breath of the Wild happened, and that had to take over. As far as like the favorites, I love Prince Sidon just because he's so encouraging, and then you can't. It's like you see him, you just feel better immediately.
I feel better with that person in my life. Exactly. Yeah, go for it.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was like so lucky. I got to like interview his voice actor one time, and his voice actor is just as amazing as Jamie Mortellaro is just as amazing as Prince Sidon. Like they're both equally encouraging. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm talking to the real Sidon, who is really Sidon. This is amazing.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I love him, and I love the Gerudo.
Also, okay, that is so much. And by the way, you're so energetically generous with being on the show first of all, and then just like sharing all these wonderful, amazing, even this early on in the show, these tidbits. So much there. So favorite character, Sidon. Favorite culture. You mentioned the Gerudo.
Is it the Gerudo? Yeah,
yep.
Yeah. They always make me want to get ripped every time I see them. I'm like,
fuck. Yeah, those women could crush us at any time.
Yeah, yep. That's my goal right there, to be like that.
There you go. That's it. That's wonderful. And I suppose we can just go off of anything top of mind, Koji Kondo song or area, whatever, and then we'll veer off into the more specific questions. So
okay. As far as the music, I love all the music so much. It's so good. I love Gerudo Valley. That one just is always like the fun, just energetic song. But I really like the Clocktown theme just because. So beautiful. I love Clocktown because it's pretty, but there's so much that goes into it. And like I actually did like kind of like I don't know the word for it. A breakdown, an analysis, that's the word, analysis of the full Clocktown theme going from each day, because it's like, it's easy to say, that just speeds up as the clock goes on. It's like, no, there's more to it than that. On day one, it's all happy and cheery, and it's kind of representing the ignorance and the blissful ignorance of everybody in the town still holding on to that identity. Next day, it sounds distorted. People can still deny anything that's happening because it's still close enough to the regular song. It's like, it's just a little off thing. It's okay. By day 3, though, it's like, okay, there's no denying something's wrong, but it still holds on to that main theme. And that's everybody still just holding on to who they are and remembering, like, no matter what happens, this is our home, and this is the person I love, because at the end of the day, Majora's Mask is a love story, whether it's romantic, platonic, familial, like it goes over all the types there. It's essentially like if you've seen the movie Love Actually, they're the same thing.
A universal love story. I completely agree. And well, I just want to say, I've seen my fair share of the beautiful breakdowns and analyses and just your Amanda's angle on Majora's Mask as this omniversal love story is just so heartening and kindred and beautiful. So I hope a few ears have been perked up. And frankly, if you hadn't, I'm just addressing, and sometimes I do loving threats to the into the listeners. Okay, if you hadn't paused at least 5 minutes ago and just jumped on, it's like, okay, Albert's great, but it's all about Amanda, and subscribe to all of your outlets, which I've just been the worst with putting things together. It's the first 3 episodes, so
that's okay. That's okay.
So as you saw on Instagram, I've really set the beautiful or just the thumbnail template, and so now listeners, pause the show, go follow all of Amanda's things now, because she is insanely perceptive and like eclectic, and like is so attuned to what Zelda is, which is that the feminine, masculine, the love, the it's so much richer and deeper than just this surface level escapist thing. It really taps into archetypes and myths, and all of that is just so rich, for sure.
Yeah.
Fun. Oh, well, you know what? Okay, so are you back? Okay. Again, I get to be a bit interactive, and like, because you put there's on Kind of Funny. They actually say, okay, pull over the car right now. And as I'm listening, I'm like, well, probably about 90% of people don't do that, but there's always a chance that someone actually did, So right now you should be okay. There you go. You've just surpassed, whatever your next milestone is. You're on YouTube though, right? With like Amanda VanHiel, with all of these things that people can just come and rush.
Well, I'm on the Zelda Universe YouTube, and then I have my own Twitch account that I do my own stuff on. Excellent.
And I do see the etymology. I'm a big etymology buffin. So your Instagram name, Panda Princessa Streams.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. What's the origin?
Oh, yeah. So the origin of that is where I used to work. Everybody just started calling me Panda one day, and that just kind of stuck to the point where that's like how I signed my emails. That was like my name on everything listed. It was just like, that's Panda, and that's just kind of what we went with. I was like, okay, so I'll go with that. And then I volunteer as a Disney princess, and then one of my friends would always call me. He would call me like princess. He'd call me princessa. He'd call me Hime. He'd call me like any type of like different languages of the word princess. And I know princessa is Spanish for princess, but I spelled it wrong on purpose because, first of all, I think with one S it was taken, and I wanted it just to look like the word princess. Yeah. And then I just put an A at the end of it because, like, I like the alliteration and I like the rhythm of it. So that's where it came from.
Exactly. So I'm Italian, and I know about like the sort of the adding of the genders. So princessa. Yeah. For Italian, it's principessa. So like the
principessa.
Yeah.
Cool.
Principessa. And so Principessa Amanda. There you go.
That's me. Yay.
Fun. Now I'm trying to get crafty. You probably saw me trying to do multitasking because I've got this cool plugin for Zoom which lets me. All the listeners know how daggy I am, because I'm just like a dad who's really impressed by, like, I'm going to try and bring that photo up because you were talking about Ocarina of Time. Now, Is Ocarina of Time like your favorite?
I've got to say Breath of the Wild's my favorite now.
Awesome.
It was Ocarina of Time until Breath of the Wild came out.
There you go. Well, see, now, yeah, exactly. And so for me, interestingly, Skyward Sword, that's why, on that very first episode, I'm hoping, Amanda, especially with this being like Skyward Sword HD's release week, which you have such a bright and kind of like, what is it, airish and like light kind of energy. So it's like, oh, well, Amanda fits perfectly,
Yay!
Plus the A looks like an arrow pointing upwards. Hey.
Perfect. Going up skyward. Excellent.
And so, yeah, Skyward Sword forever and ever. And then Breath of the Wild happened. And I may even turn into one of those like old people who tells the same story on every podcast, but
Nothing wrong with that.
In case you hadn't seen the last episode or listened on Spotify, I had a genuine, like, when I happened naturally upon Zora's domain, I felt like Frodo, like coming across Rivendell. Like it was not presaged. There was no like Zora's domain, like the title didn't appear. I just came across it naturally, and I had a moment. I teared up. I was like, I stood on my bed. I was like, oh wow, wow, there's still wonder in the world, and I'm not completely a jaded adult. So since we are both Breath of the Wildians, what would you say is your like Breath of the Wild moment? Something similar to that. What was it for you?
Oh, definitely going to Zora's domain, just because of how beautiful it is, and it just looks so different than just the rest of the entire environment. Yeah, that was one of my big ones. And then going to Eventide Island, I really like that. I like the whole shipwrecked sort of thing. I like feeling like I'm in Swiss Family Robinson.
That's amazing. Give me your over-under. We go very omnidirectional here. What's your over-under on just, even though we're going skyward, obviously, Skyrule and all that, and we'll get to the next 15 seconds of what we're doing, searching the skies of the first trailer. What's your over under on the oceans or navigation by water in Breath of the Wild 2? Because that might be a totally, unexpected thing that they're working on, that we're all like with our eyes upward. What do you think that they might do just to advance water and advance that sort of element of like water navigation or sailing, I guess, in Breath of the Wild 2?
I hadn't even thought of that. That would be cool, because I always liked getting on the raft and like using I always kept a Korok leaf with me, like just in case. Like, you never know if you're gonna need to get on a raft. That would be cool. Just because like I love Lurelin Village. I would want to, like, if I had to live anywhere there, I would want to live at Lurelin Village because I love the beach. I love swimming, all that stuff.
Beautiful. Amanda, you just gave us, because we're still getting set up. You just provided us another pillar of the show, which is, where would you live in the world of Breath of the Wild? And that's going to be one of the regular questions now. Thank you. I hope you don't mind. We're going to just...
that's awesome.
Amazing.
Success.
Skills. Incredible. Well, and okay, so we've covered so much already. As I mentioned, just wow. And I don't know if people have told you this, and it's very important for me, is like, you do recognize, like, you're extremely energetically generous as a person. Like, you're not scarce at all. Like, thank you.
You're welcome. This is just me being me.
That's really good.
Just me.
A credit to your parents or whatever influence you becoming who you are, and all of your friends and family, partner, everyone in your life is very lucky to have you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
you guys are amazing. Oh.
No worries. So, and also, obviously, you're like, if you're ever in Australia, like, you're family. So, skills.
Sweet. I've always wanted to go to Australia, like, always.
Well, you know what? You actually have now. Okay, ready? The ceremony has begun. Ready, Amanda?
Okay.
You have been officially invited to Australia by an Australian. Okay?
Okay. Cool.
Terrific. That's the ceremony's over. Okay, go.
Okay. Oh, that was a quick ceremony. That's fine. We got Zelda stuff to talk about.
and we allow little pockets of the sort of more colorful language here, because it's kid friendly, but we'll allow them to say, fucking come over. Come over.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
You've officially invited in Australianese as well. So whereabouts in the US? I'm assuming the US. Are you Canada or?
I'm in the US. Yeah.
US, and whereabouts?
I'm in Georgia, so just right outside of Atlanta, so southeast.
Did you see me, like, my face nearly implode? Georgia's my favorite place in the US.
Is it really?
That, right?
Well, no, I didn't know that.
My favorite band of all time is Mastodon, and we do a Mastodon podcast. I've spoken with some of the album artists on that particular show. I have like all of these omnidirectional interests, but it's the furthest thing from like the dilettante thing of like, I'll just have them all just to have them all. And it's like,
yeah,
man, I got my tattoos in certain places inspired by Mastodon. I know how it's all like inspired by Joseph Campbell. And like, I've met Bill, who's like one of the main guys there in the band, Richie Beckett, who's like, you need to, and the cross-pollination, Amanda, of having like the Zelda podcast, and then someone from the, like a concept artist who works on the on like Avatar will be like, oh my God, I love Zelda. And then they'll signal boost and cross over. So this thing that you can clearly see, I'm gonna like be following you. We have about 900 sub outlets, so don't freak out if you suddenly get 900 new followers out of nowhere.
I mean, I'll just have to live with new followers.
You'll just have to live
terrible.
with it. You absolutely will. So and
people to subject with my cat pictures.
Please do. And so then another question we had last time was, so you said favorite Zelda Breath of the Wild, but what is your, just as important is your number two? What is your number
two? Is Ocarina. Definitely Ocarina. Okay.
So Ocarina. And now I will complete my attempt to do my technology thing, Amanda. Thank you for your patience.
Sure.
Just send me vibes of technology working. Okay, did that work? Please work. Oh God. And I'm also do this thing now because I want to, instead of cutting away and editing, because I usually leave things. I don't know. You seem very dedicated to your craft, but for me, I love the idea of just doing the thing and then it's ready and it's out there in the world. And so instead of like cutting to clips that I'll put in later, I just like, ready? Okay, here we go. Boom. Can you see it?
Oh, yay.
Fun. Okay. And then this Zoom thing, there you go. Boom.
Ooh,
and I can like
fancy.
drag it around. Wait. So like at one point, if we have like a segment of like, oh, Amanda's like fairy segment, I'll have this. Around. Yeah. So Ocarina. Now you don't just come into this house, the Zelda podcast house, and just drop that name and don't share Amanda's idiosyncratic, particular, special Ocarina of Time memory. Take us all the way back. We've got our little bowl of Fruit Loops. We're all listening intently.
All right, looking at little 12-year-old Amanda.
Yes.
I just remember playing it for the first time, and sure, it's rated E for everyone, but when you're 12 and the games you've been playing were like Yoshi's Story and like Diddy Kong Racing, this felt like I was playing a real grown-up game, sort of. So like, I feel like I'm like, all right, I'm in like a big, real serious game, you know, as serious as Zelda can get, you know. But, you know, in comparison to Yoshi's Story, it's a big difference.
There's some darkness in that game. It's scary.
Oh my gosh, especially when you go to the well and then there's like Dead Hand in there, just... That game gave me so many nightmares, and I don't even care. I'd play it. I still love it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Dampé is like, he's so scary, but at the same time, like, he's just like charming and lovely. And man, I would rather have like Dampé on my side in an environment like that than I you know what? Give us a Dampé prequel. People, come on, Dampé spinoff. Let's go.
Okay. All right. So let's see, a Dampé spin-off. So we could do just grave digging. I mean, that would be just fun.
Yeah, like a mobile game.
But that would be kind of boring. I think you should explore graves with Dampé. Just like explore all these different places with him.
Grave explorer, you know, you should.
Yeah, and then you know, he knows all this stuff. He would be like an amazing historian, so he'd be able to give you like all of this information about everything.
There you go. And so then that's amazing. And I love our little Dampé detour. Okay, Dampé Detour's official segment on the show. Okay. Oh, well, see, now you're casting my mind back. And so I want to have, maybe there's a timeline alignment thing where it's like we had a similar thing. We'll see. For me, Ocarina of Time, I'm, you know, every time I go to that temple, I literally, like, it has that Gregorian chant. I grew up in Italy where there was this thing of when you enter like a temple-like environment, there's this, and you look up and there's, cool. You know, and I had just come off of living in Italy. Like I tried to cut away to it. My editor just broke down. It's why it took a while with like editing the second one. But here in Canberra, we have a very leafy suburb called Curtin, Curtin. I actually grew up on a street called Bowser Place.
Oh, no way. That's awesome.
Yes. So very Nintendo-tastic. And so basically that was like I was recovering from like having left Italy and stuff. And I was really looking for a place to like feel solace and feel like, you know, that, I mean, there's a bit of escapism to it, but Hyrule, home, like the word itself starts with a H, ends with an E. Home. Hyrule is home, you know? And Hyrule was home before Hogwarts was home, okay? That's important to recognize. Not that we're competing or anything. We do Wizarding World as well. And look, when I went into the Temple of Time, and that idea of that you could go back in time and like portals, I love the idea of like, that's what has me so excited. We can segue into this, I guess, we talked about it and speculated about Breath of the Wild 2 is the idea of time travel. Adam and I riffed about, I think he's doing a video based on what we discussed of localized time travel, where you can open like an AOE of like, you just travel into the past instance of that particular area, and then you can close that portal, sort of jumping around. And I love the idea of being able to like transcend through barriers, and clearly like in this new game he's able to go through like turn into liquid or something. So what's your portals in Zelda, and what are you sort of vibing for Breath of the Wild 2?
So based on what I saw like in the trailer, I'm thinking there's definitely going to be some time travel, and I'm thinking it's going to be the reason I'm thinking this, I think it's going to be like kind of like a short-term time travel where you can go back just like a short amount, kind of like in Life is Strange, that sort of time travel where you can just kind of change things just a little bit. And the reason I think that is because that one part in the trailer where you see like the water and it's like a little puddle, and then you see like the water just kind of soak up like it's being played in reverse. So it looked like it was a raindrop that had fallen and then like it sucks back up. And so it looks kind of like somebody just hit rewind on it. So that's what I'm thinking might be like a new rune, is like rewind sort of.
That's that. You know what that gives me hope for? Not that I have any like doubt at all, but and even if it does end up being a bit of a Majora's Mask situation where, you know, they're sibling games, Ocarina and Majora, but they feel so different. And no, this is something to be grateful for, Amanda. In the outrage culture we live in the outrage economy, like seemingly Majora has received a passing grade or flying with colors grade, actually, with this idea of having had such a short turnover, 12 months, like, it was so short, like the development from Ocarina to Majora's. And it's Termina, it's different, they adjusted the map and stuff, but there's not, like, you don't see the thumbnails about it. There's no question of Ocarina, of Majora's being its own game. And no one's saying like, oh, it was just this copy pasted thing and it didn't feel like a true sequel. It's like no one is there saying that Majora's doesn't feel like a true, full blown, completely its own thing sequel. So what is the finger on the pulse of like Amanda's world and like what you've heard? Have people, are the vibes good on your end with like?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. That's really, really good. And frankly, this whole idea of, Commonwealth Realm is sort of breaking this out open. I have crazy amount. He's one of our upcoming guests for sure. I'm sending feelers out. The person, he can just take one grain of new news and just turn it into like 5, not in a even like trying to churn out videos way. He genuinely like applies himself to like speculating and manifesting, what could this mean? And he talked about the 3 layers. So it's like, you have the land, the sky, and deep underground. So give us your Amanda's mind's eye cinema for what we could be doing underground, like, or what you would like to see underground with Breath of the Wild 2.
Okay, so Breath of the Wild 2 underground. I'm hoping it's
apart from meeting David Bowie.
Okay, aside from meeting David Bowie, I mean that'd be pretty cool.
What are you doing here, Amanda?
I really hope it's just kind of like exploring like kind of ruins and that sort of thing, like things that might have like sunken below or like things have been built over, like kind of like you're not really like you're exploring a mine, but in that same kind of realm, I guess. Okay.
Now I'm going to chuck this to you because we go again omnidirectional stuff that maybe people aren't really riffing about. We just go where we will. All right.
That works.
So we're talking loft wings for the sky. Have we even seen underwater mounts? And guess what? We're totally getting underwater mounts in Breath of the Wild 2. Come on, we're going to go some underwater lakes. I want it. Come on.
I want to ride it. I want to ride a shark all through the water, or a fishy, or a turtle. I want a turtle. That's what I want. I want a turtle.
Oh God. Okay, I stand up for when I'm really stoked about things. I have my little platform here. Excellent. I don't believe in chairs. I'm kidding. Chairs are fine. They're actually probably better for your back. I need to look after my back. Anyway, because I did yoga in the circus. Anyway, geez, tangents, Albert. So you are freaking me out because this is what's the best thing about podcasts is like, hey, something completely out of left field. Only Amanda's brain could have in that moment conjured it. Well, honestly, here we go. So, I'm going to give you literally 1-for-1 mind's eye cinema. 12 months from now, you're going to experience this. You and I, everyone, we go down to Zora's Domain. And then guess what? Something which they've now, because we're going underwater, Zora's Domain, you go down the elevator or whatever, and there's like the rookery or whatever of these like underwater beautiful turtle-like Zora mounts that is like their cavalry or whatever. And they're like, oh, cool. So we hear that you're about to head off into the whatever like region of the underworld or underwaters or whatever. Well, here you go. And so then underwater mount, and we can name them just like we can name the horses, and loft wings, no big deal. Naming loft wings, come on, right? Yeah. So vibes and thoughts on. So you said turtles, but would you just straight up want? Because I know we have this in the sands. We have those walruses, and like
I like them. They're pretty cool.
I
like them a lot.
Well, you know what's interesting? I just noticed from Zelda is they don't go too crazy with their silhouettes. Like Richo are just birds. They're like a little bit of a riff on a bird, and like over the different games. Favorite Richos across the whole sagas, go.
I mean, I love Rivali. He's just the greatest person ever. Like, I love him so much. Like, I love Medley. She's so sweet. Yeah. I wish I had Rivali's just like cocky confidence sometimes. I'm just like, I need to be like that. I need to be like that.
He would be a personal coach. So that's another segment now. It's like, we pick a character. Who would they be in the real world? I think Link, I don't know. He would own like I think he'd be pretty mellow. He would activate with like a quest, but his standard thing, he would have like a candle shop. He'd just be really mellow, like in San Francisco, just like a really mellow fucking hipster guy. I don't know.
Yeah, Link would be a hipster.
Okay. Well, see, I love Rivali too, but the great issue is that he doesn't love us back. So
He would totally love me. We would be besties.
Actually,
I would get him to respect me.
You would see that's the thing. You would kung fu him as well if he gave you any sass, and no, there would just be a rad kinship. Me, speaking of sass, rhymes with sass. Cass, me and Cass would absolutely vibe. I love Cass. Awesome. He's amazing. So, and then I think over time that I would like vibe with Rivali, but he's pretty intense, and I'm an introvert. So, but we'd vibe eventually. But you right off the bat be like, Rivali, bitch, we're going airsoft fucking fighting or whatever. Like,
yeah, like he would try and pull his cocky stuff with me, and I'd be like, we're not playing that.
No, we're not playing
and that. I can see right through what you're doing, so we're just gonna be buds, and you're gonna just have to get over it, dude.
Yeah, fun. I love it. I dig it. Okay, so now, well, so many directions that we can go in. Speaking of going in so many directions, from the trailer, which I suppose we can start teeing it up. The sad thing is that when I tee it up, I lose my amazing white screen, and so then I go back to the shadows and I have the trailer brought up with me. Eventually, Amanda, I'll do the lighting thing like the tube dubers do, you know? Okay. All right. So if you were ready, why don't we preliminarily bring it up? Just this, the trailer for, oh my goodness, Breath of the Wild 2. Give me, as you're doing that, if you already have it brought up, that's fine. Your title speculation for Breath of the Wild 2. Anything.
Oh. Breath of the Wild 2.
Go for
Death of the Wild. No.
Shit, you just said, wow, Death of the Wild.
Death of the Wild.
That's heavy for such a bright
I had come up with a really cool title not too long ago, and I don't remember what that title was, but I was really proud of it. Now I can't think of what it was.
Okay, well, maybe when it actually comes true, you'll be like,
one day, when I remember it, I'll tag you and be like, this was the name of it. I remember now.
Done. And I'll clip back to this and be like, you predicted it. But at the same time, you're also, whatever it ends up being, you can then, if you're feeling, sus, you're feeling like a little bit playfully deceptive, you'd be like, yeah, that's what I thought of. That was it, whatever it ends up being. That's it. Okay. Wow. It's just seeing, 2 years ago, sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Joy. 6.3. What? Okay, Amanda.
Yes.
13 million views over 2 years for the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild first look. 1 month ago, this trailer comes out. 6.3 already.
Holy crap.
6.3 million. Now, go on. I mean, again, that's literally pre-COVID, post-COVID. We've all shifted with just like, I love that. I mean, we've gotten, the Zoom highways have been burst open, as I mentioned. Like, people have really started to like, but it's a symptom. Give me your Amanda's take on that. The idea of, games coming to the forefront. I'm giving this talk in Melbourne later this month about like how, the interactive art form can actually pave the way to like more empathy because it's a participative medium and you're actually engaging with it and you can become more human. And your thoughts, just Amanda's thoughts on the medium, the art form itself. Go for it.
So to me, gaming is just the ultimate storytelling medium because it inserts you into the story. You're not just sitting there watching it. You're not just reading it, watching from somebody else's point of view. You're there. So the stakes are a lot higher because you're experiencing it. Sure, you're not going to like be physically harmed. I mean, sure, you might get a blister on your hand or whatever, but it's not actual life or death, but you still imagine what that character is going through and you see it through that character. Literally, sometimes you see it through that character's eyes, especially if it's like in first person. And so it really just kind of makes you feel like what the situation is. And especially like since it's gotten like so immersive now, like, you feel like you're there. And I think it's wonderful for storytelling. Like you can really like get a message through that way.
Oh, absolutely. You, if Joseph, rest in peace forever, Joseph Campbell, if he heard you telling that, his thing was, we grow through stories. That's my thing too with the quantum myth. I just believe before there were institutions and like schools and even language, we had storytelling. We were all just a bunch of people. That's why something really deep and primal in us like activates when someone starts telling a story. It's like,
right, yeah.
And the thing is, as you said, it's about that immersion. And one of the things that they did obviously back then we didn't have games, we just had our hands and walls and we cave painted on walls. But what we would do, we would directly engage them, and like we ourselves are human, and so then that person is a human silhouette than we are, and so then we need to see ourselves in the story. And that's why I actually think sometimes third person can be more immersive for me because I just immerse into it like it's a storytelling thing for me. Like
Right.
sometimes honestly, first person can be like, sure, I'm witnessing that, but I wouldn't directly do that. Whereas if I am seeing someone do that, I'm wrapped, RAPT, like I'm completely wrapped in this story of and so Breath of the Wild is now the template for that. And you are Link, there's a thing which I now obviously have to get your hot take on, is the idea of this upcoming title being the one where that's it, we're going to have a voiced Link. What is your over under on that? What do you hope so?
I do. I really do.
Too.
Like, I know a lot of people are saying Link doesn't talk, but he has like dialogue options. He has them like in Skyward Sword, for example. Like you get options to say, and he has things that he says in Breath of the Wild. So it makes sense. I mean, as long as they don't make it just super cheesy or whatever. And I mean, we've come a long way since the CDI games.
Yes, we have. That CDI game set us back a few years in terms of being able to...
I feel like that's the reason why we haven't had voice acting until just now.
That's right. I don't have the fangled abilities. I will at some point, but I will have a clip that I can immediately play. Excuse me, princess. Like, I'll be able to do it straight away. I think if people are, they're doing localization, they're wondering, it's like wondering when to break the news to a family member about like a new baby or a new development or whatever. They're like, what's the right time? We know, because he obviously, if they have a voiced Link, they've already been working, like this hypothetical person has already been doing work, and so they must be right now being like like hearing some... I put a poll out. It actually it was very close. The leading polls were I'm not ready, and then the other one, like right underneath that one, was okay, I'm curious. Like, we are just on the threshold historically of being ready for a voiced Link. And if they just want to immediately endear us to them, have it be so that within the first 10 minutes of this voiced Link, he actually says the lines, excuse me, princess. Like if he says that, the love will just flow in from the internet. Like, even just a quick line. He just needs
to say, "Oh, excuse me, princess." Just to say something to her, or walking past her, just moving past. Excuse me, princess.
Yeah, because they're going to be
so cute. They'll be such. Oh my god.
Right, and so they'll be under. They're exploring. They got the cave and stuff, and like she, and a huge part of what we're seeing visually, at least, I really hope that they do pull that, and we find out, we're playing as Zelda. I really do, because you don't. I'm sorry, but you don't do that. You don't have a short-haired Zelda and then have a short-haired-ish character falling through the sky, and then you're like, and the long hair flapping, and you're like, hey, don't tease us. Hey, it's called The Legend of Zelda. She's at the forefront holding shorter hair. Don't tease us. Like, come on, be cool.
Like, there's a reason she's got short hair. She didn't just one day. Nobody just goes, I think I'll just cut my hair short. You have a reason.
Thank you. Amazing. And also, I'm just going to manifest this for you. You have the perfect length. It's blonde too. So please, Zelda people. Okay, Amanda's available for hair motion capture.
I am available for all things acting in Zelda. Yes, I will do it.
I mean, if you got that kung fu stuff, you could easily be like, I don't know. They did actually. You can tell some character movements. Oh my god, they totally did performance capture. Right. Yeah, and so then so I'm just tapping you for that. Within the past like minute, I just became your performance capture agent.
Excellent. Cast me as Zelda, Nintendo. Come on.
For the Oceania region, at least. Okay. Well,
I'll go swimming as Zelda. That'll work.
Say again, mate.
I'll go swimming as Zelda. That'll work.
Skills, please do. Okay, there, done. And you have that ability, and probably, are you good with climbing your upper body? You're good with the pull-up bar?
It's not as good as it should be, but I've been working on it recently to get it back. It used to be really good, and then like COVID happened, and so I wasn't going to classes often, and so I'm working on building that back up.
This is our stamina bar ready. It's like straight away. It just goes. This just, instead of going, it's just like that. I'm getting there. That's cool. Yeah. All right. Well. Vibing it. I'm digging it. You know what? We can bring it up, and then whatever we were gonna dive into, we'll couch it within the trailer itself. How about that? So now, a month ago, just from the Nintendo channel, 1 minute and 39 seconds. Okay, make sure the volume's down so I'm not distressing anybody. So as you can imagine, like that first episode, the first 15 seconds, it's just this very nightmarish vision, really, of Ganon, you know. And then
Yeah.
we pause at the 15, and it's great because the actually transitions. Our opening shot, which is a bit subversive, even though again we're heavily manifesting for Zelda to like, oh my gosh, like please have her be like a good decent chunk of the story where we can play as her. Let's fire off a few precedents actually for these game developers. It's like, well, there are heaps of games where you just literally play as two characters throughout the story, you know.
Yeah, it's like that in Uncharted 4.
Yeah, absolutely, done. So that's sorted, and like that wouldn't be that much of a stretch. So the only way that I would forgive them is they said, Albert, we didn't want to do voiced Link and then playable Zelda in the first one. We want her. And if they say, Albert, okay, we're just going to do voice Link for this one, and then the big bombshell one for Zelda, because this will be Zelda 20, Zelda 21. So, okay, yeah, the one after this is going to be, you're just going to play as Zelda, you know? And that could be this new thing of the switching of from the 20, pre-20, like Zelda's 1 through 20. I do this thing because I do the Final Fantasy podcast too, is I also call them by the name. And so, yeah, Breath of the Wild is Zelda 19 as well. I did a big, I don't know if you saw it, you can bring up the Instagram, because I love my admin, and I went through and I just like brought up all the Zelda's release dates and everything throughout the years. And it's like the Zelda
saga. I remember seeing that. Yeah.
You remember seeing that? Excellent.
Yes.
And so, okay, so now we're not threatening, but low-key we are like, make sure that you don't let that be a teaser. And this thing, honestly, like we saw her in such a strong position, and to the point of, this is what we were looping back to, is like, excuse me, princess, like, sorry, like I want her to take charge. And yet this opening shot is her falling. And so what are your vibes on whether or not we may see another like saving Zelda story again? Go for it.
So the part with her falling, I'm wondering if that's a nightmare.
Ooh, interesting. I like that.
And the only reason that's making me think that is like, I kind of got, because since I started playing Skyward Sword HD again, and Zelda gets like sucked into the tornado or whatever. She only semi gets kidnapped. She knew what she was doing the whole time. And, you know, it opens up with Link pretty much having a nightmare, and I'd totally forgotten about that. And then it looked a lot of it was just looking very similar to the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. I'm going, okay, I'm seeing some similarities here. But just because she was falling into a void and everything was black makes me think it was either just a vision or a nightmare or this could happen sort of thing. I really, bad ending.
Absolutely, yeah. Because, and I just don't think, you know, I did some Kojima stuff back in the day, and I have a little bit of a conspiracy theory that sometimes, and it's completely unacknowledged, no one really talks about it, but it totally happens, which is that development teams, they literally put out a trailer and then they wait for feedback and then they develop the rest of the game. It's like, it's maybe not that unfounded, but who knows, it probably is that like a little bit irrational, but
I'm sure. I'm sure there's some of it involved. Like
for sure. So what I'm hoping is that, so it wasn't like something, because again, every single trailer decision is so deliberate. I'm going to actually, part of this show is going to be bringing in some of those unsung voices, not just the voice actors, this lovely chronicle of like everyone from Breath of the Wild. Sidon will jump in, but you can be reunited on the Zelda podcast with them. Yay! I think that would be rad. But also some of the background designer people, and then I just want to get some of these trailer editors who they have so much pressure on them. They are so completely uncredited, you know, that like a certain person at some point had to be like, I had to sit down with the footage that was available, convey a mini condensed story in this limited amount of time, right? And the whole idea of like, by the way, it's not necessarily make or break, because Zelda has the Zelda standard, and it's like, sure, people are going to basically probably pick it up anyway because of that reputation of quality. But so in terms of like, let's go even, I'll just throw this to you. So the first trailer, and not even specifically whatever's inside the trailer, but what is your vibe on like 2 years ago, Breath of the Wild sequel, interestingly ending with like just, it's in development. Like, what were your vibe just with how that was put together as a trailer? And then we'll shift to your general thoughts on this one.
So I was with the majority of the Zelda Universe team when that happened because we were all at the Airbnb together, like at E3. So we were all sitting there together. We all start screaming, and it was funny because like I had so many people before like E3 that year ask me, they're like, "So you think there's going to be a new Zelda game announced?" I'm like, "No, Breath of the Wild just came out. There's no way we're getting another Zelda anytime soon. I don't know what you're talking about." And then as you know, we got Cadence, and we got Link's Awakening all like in the same like year, or at least announcements or whatever. I can't follow when things happen.
Totally.
But it was just a whole lot of holy crap, Zelda has short hair.
Yeah.
Ganon is dehydrated zombie Ganon.
Jerky Ganon.
Yeah. Oh, gross. That is Jerky Ganon. Oh, gross.
Sorry.
It is. No, it's funny. And now I'm just going to call him that from now on.
That's
fun your name for him. It's great.
Right. Okay. Well then. Okay. So basically, I mean, just with how. First of all, I'm a big Don Bluth guy, so I love like The Secret of Nim and that kind of thing. Oh my God! You have to jump on the Don Bluth podcast. We're going to speak to people from there. Yes.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, and he's still with us. So can you help me manifest getting Don on the show? Because you would
on
be
it.
Okay. So
on it.
Okay. So Amanda, you and I, boom, we riff with him because this one thing with that particular. It's like free association or whatever, and they're going down. It made me think of the Rats of Nim, like super like, and then the malice resembles like the thorns and stuff.
Yes.
And then there's an actual physical rat that scurries, at some point. And then seeing the mushrooms, like the glowing stuff, and I was like, this is so immersive, and again, just
now I'm thinking about how much I love Secret of Nim. Totally off topic, but I still remember seeing that for the first time, like in I was in like first grade, and we were like having movie day because we had like movie day every Friday or whatever at the end of the day. And I just remember watching Secret of Nim and be like, I've never seen this before, and it was like the first like really dark thing I'd ever really watched because I'm a big Disney kid. I've watched Little Mermaid on repeat many times.
Dawn is darker.
And it was like, this is dark, but I like it. And it was just the coolest thing I'd ever seen. I was like, that was amazing.
Oh my Lord. Believe me, it's so formative to my ideas of like what coziness is, because Mrs. Brisby's house is like all like lovely and warmly lit and stuff. And see what I mean, Amanda, if I hadn't just sort of mentioned that now, like we actually do have the Don Bluth podcast, and straight up, like I will like tag you, whatever, we'll set that up. And like, he is, first of all, I don't know if he's a vegan or something. He's so lively and doing Dragon's Lair, developing all that. I just have to put the right feelers out. I'm desperately trying to get Mel Brooks as well, because he's still with us too, and we have I know, and so he's so cherished. And also, we in some other universe, we definitely went to primary school together. If you're like a Don Bluth boffin, then there we go. So I can't be quick enough with this thing. Usually I'm going to get a faster computer soon, but hopefully the DSLR can be kind. So please be kind, DSLR. Okay. Like with contrast or whatever. Don Bluth. It's sort of, you can maybe see it. It's
I can
very
kind of
bright.
see it now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, actually, fuck it. You know what? This is, we need to represent this, because Amanda, would you not say that it's like criminally under discussed, like how amazing Don Bluth is, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Because it's like, again, I love Disney. I always will, but people always assume like if it's animated that it's Disney, and it's like, no, other people are capable of making brilliant movies.
Thank you. Okay. Road to El Dorado, bitches. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I love me some Anastasia. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. So you just entered. Okay. This is really. It's not even risking becoming. It now has become this little pocket cast about Don Bluth. I love Anastasia. I love that so much. Frankly, you know what? Let's make it, to honor the listeners. Give me your over-under on how amazing it would be for just like a Don Bluth type animation. People say, the Miyazaki or the Ghibli would be amazing, but imagine like a really fully, vividly animated version of like a Zelda story. Just, Netflix.
Don Bluth would do it perfectly, because he gets those environments and like you feel like you're there, and that's what you need with the Zelda like animation.
1000%. And there's also, those, like the CDI games or whatever, like some of that kind of exaggerated facial animation, it's like they were almost there. So we are now entering, however, Amanda, like this age of the streaming, the age of like spin-offs and stuff. You know, a Mario film CGI is in development
Right, yeah.
right now by the makers of, I think it's the Sonic people and the Pokemon. We do the Pokemon podcast too, but yeah, Detective Pikachu. They're making it now.
Those movies were so good.
Right. I loved it, and you have to jump on Pokemon podcast. Like
Okay,
Abby.
oh my god, yes.
Oh my god, let's do it.
I freaking love Pokemon.
Yes, because it's all there and it's all set up. Literally, just the Pokemon podcast on Instagram. Right. So basically, I want to just let's just blow it open. We don't have too much of a precedent. We have like the Ice Ages and the Pixar, and so actually, fuck it. Okay, here we go. Tangled. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Just take Tangled, reskin it a little bit, something of that level of animation, and we're talking Zelda, lady.
Oh, absolutely, because like in the Castle Town, and then the scene where Rapunzel is dancing, where she like gets all the braids and stuff put in her hair. I swear it's the exact same scene. Like I swear Castle Town is Corona. It's the same place.
Okay, and so and tell me this, and we're maybe because we do again. They should have been quicker with these URLs, Amanda, because I jumped in. So we do Disney podcast too, and it's for those specific conversations, chronicling those. And when 10 to 1, when we speak to some of the Tangled people, like they're going to be like, oh yeah, I mean, I have like Zelda stuff all on my desk over at Disney Animation Studios. It's like, of course, there's going to be a Venn diagramming of Disney, and I'm so glad that Don Bluth kind of opened this sort of door to talking about Zelda in animation, because frankly, it's coming. You know that it's coming.
It absolutely is.
But we just, we have Castlevania doing so well, so there are precedents, and now Nintendo have to be having that on the table. And so I'm just going to do this Australian-Italian thing of like, no discussion. I'm roping you into being on those shows to discuss episode by episode. What do you reckon? Done. Skills. And then I'm straight up right after this buying like a ZU shirt. I just need to send some kind of support. Yes. Do you have merch like Amanda VanHiel, like that I can wear a shirt on?
I totally need to start making merch with my stuff on it, because like a bunch of my friends all have merch, and I'm like, you know what? It's about time I start doing my own merch.
Please, like Larry K, can you do that, love? Please, thank you.
Yeah, like I don't even know how to do it, but I need to find out how.
Well, you're doing the stream. You're doing the Twitch thing, right?
Yeah, because I have my own Twitch channel. That's what I'm trying to like grow and like do a whole lot more with.
And so what is there is you'll actually see there's like a couple of Twitch are making it. There you go, Don Bluth right there, boom.
Okay.
On the show. They're making it very easy for like Twitch people to just immediately set up like a Streamlabs. Yeah. So Streamlabs, they have like a thing. It's like, it's like a merch solution thing.
That's true. Yes, that's true.
Amanda, I'm on it, because now I just want to be that first, or among the first, because there's obviously going to be a big rush once you like tell people. Come on. AVH, do you want me to design you a logo or something? I do that for free. Fuck it. You actually could? I do, absolutely.
Holy shit, yes.
1 trillion done. Okay, so graphic design.
Okay, because I've been wanting a logo and I don't know how to make a logo.
Lady, first of all, look at your damn name. A, symmetrical. V, symmetrical. H, symmetrical. It's a graphic designer's acronym dream. Okay, so
sweet.
Leave it with me, love. I will get it to you literally by the end of. Is next week okay? I've got some stuff.
Yeah,
done.
Totally.
Skills, and it'll be a PNG, and it's yours. Done.
Oh my god, you're amazing. Thank you.
No worries at all. Skills beyond skills. This poor neglected trailer, because we're just vibing and doing all the things. That's fine. Good vibes. I was going to try and do things of bringing up screenshots. That's fine. People have the trailer brought up. They understand that I'm an old man, still putting the technology together. We'll get there.
That's why I haven't made anything like that, because I'm old. I don't know how to do this. My husband does he doesn't do graphic design. He does web development. So by the time when he gets home, he's like, I'm not making a whole bunch of stuff.
and Mr. VanHiel, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Now, what is his thing? Zelda? I'm gonna guess maybe Star Wars. Who knows? What's his thing?
Well, he likes both. We're both big Star Wars people. Okay. He's recently been into Minecraft a good bit. He's been playing that. His first Zelda game was the original one, because he's 10 years older than me, so he played the first one when it was new.
There you go. Cool,
and then he didn't play another one until Skyward Sword came out, because that was after he and I got married, was when Skyward Sword came out. Okay. And that was his first Zelda game, like in however many, 25 years. So now he's become a Zelda person too, so I'm very proud. I feel like I've had a good influence.
That's great, and I'm very glad about that. And see, again, we're talking about the lady that if Rivali was in the same room, he'd be like, "Yes, anything you want, Amanda. I got you sorted." Yeah, I love that. That's vibey. Now, okay, well, Star Wars. I mentioned we actually spoke with Paul Shipper, who does all of the posters for Star Wars on the Star Wars podcast as well. So again, Venn diagramming is very strong there. Oh my God, like with light and dark and the feminine and masculine, it's amazing. So
yeah, I cosplay Slave Leia, so
you have a skills to you for that. You need to have the abs for it, and I dare say you do. So skills. And so what's okay? So say again.
I worked very hard for them.
Hell yeah. I mean, again, we'll see with what I'm planning on is my fiance was so great. She bought this coat that I've just been dropping hints of like, okay, we're moving into a new place soon in the next like week or so, next 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I love alliteration. So Halloween housewarming is the thing.
Oh,
and yeah, so a Newt Scamander type coat. She picked this up and I'm like, I'm just going to get my Newt on. He's a bit weedy, so I'm just going to be like, buff Newt, I guess, or I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
you don't want to be wormy Newt.
you don't want to be wormy Newt. So, but what is your husband's like go-to cosplay? Does he join you in the cosplay world?
He does. So he looks like Tony Stark. So he has like he wears the shirt with the arc reactor and carries around like a thing of tea and to make it look like bourbon, so he can carry out in public or whatever. Well, and puts on his sunglasses, and there he goes. And then I get him to do Ash Ketchum with me when I wear my Misty.
Well, you're all covered there because, again, Instagram.com/The Marvel Podcast sorted it out. I love admin. I'm sure you know this now. I love it. and I'm just gonna. My main one. This is the furthest on the Deku branch. I promise, listeners. We're out on a limb. I get it. We're gonna loop it back. We're gonna come back. But so number one MCU looking forward to go Dark, and you can say Doctor Strange. You can say that.
Okay. I mean. Oh gosh! I like anything. I like anything with Thor.
With Thor, okay. Fun. Well, then Love and Thunder from bloody New Zealand. All right, Taika Waititi. Yeah.
Well, they film like the Avengers movies and all like the stuff like just right down the road from here.
Well, there you go. Excellent. And so it was
funny. I was like walking to get a sandwich one day at work, and like they were filming the second Avengers movie, and I saw like this thing blocked off. I was like, when did we get a hot dog stand? What the heck? And then I got closer, and I was like, oh, that car's on fire. Yep. And then like there's a little sign going, hey Atlanta, if you see people who appear to be injured and emergency personnel and things that say they're from New York, we promise we're just making a movie. Okay. Here's some. Then they gave out free popcorn.
Oh, that's precious. That is so precious, and I find it so like we feel the Matrix was filmed here as well, like with back in the day, and they did a bit here as well. Thor: Love and Thunder, a bit of that Kong Skull Island stuff. It's so weird that Australia has this weird like highway straight to LA. Is like these are two filming locations, and we have like direct flights. It's so crazy that but here's the thing though, if only, I don't know if there may even be a direct flight to Atlanta, because I need to get there for spiritual reasons, Amanda.
Okay.
I love Georgia. You're so lucky to be there with all like the pine trees and so lucky.
I do like Georgia, I have to say. Yeah. Florida is my favorite, but
Florida is your favorite. Cool.
I do love Florida. I lived in Florida from the time I was like a baby until I was like 7. So, my first memories are of Florida.
So I'm going to try and have an old man moment. F's in the chat for Florida. No, I don't. I tried. I don't know what that means. It's like on Mega 64, they make a parody of people trying to do the floss dance or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
And
that's too cute.
Now I'm really owning my about to turn 33-year-oldness. I'm like, fuck yeah, I don't care. I'm daggy. It's all good.
I'm telling you, like once you get in your 30s, everything's great. You're just like, whatever. I don't care. I want to wear sensible shoes. Sure. That's great.
Do not have to impress anyone. I just care about my caloric intake and staying healthy. And anyway, fun times under the sun, lady. Let's go to the next frame. So Zelda plummeting away from us. That makes me feel sad. However, I'm sure the story doesn't end there. And our next frame for this one, after an amazing pregnant pause. Are you kidding me? And again, we have to talk about the pause because you're like, what just happened? And then this irising out of the dam. Oh my God. Just whoom. And then that's it. What? And guess what? You're flying. And suddenly your entire damn life has changed because we live and look at, like, I'm glad that it's illuminating me, the screen. Because Amanda, until this point, sure, we had a little allusion to the castle rising up to the sky, but we had no idea we'd be flying up in there. Like, this was a giant revelation. Again, the internet's very quickly to be like, oh, this is how it's always been. It's like, no, about a month ago, this was not even a thing. And the timing with Skyward Sword is just so, there you go. Amanda, I unleash you on this
There's
shot.
gotta be a lot of like similar. They're coming out too close together, and there's way too many similarities between the two. There's definitely some connection there.
Very, very much so. And so then, yeah, just just like take us a little bit. It's almost like the sequel, I guess, to the Airbnb moment for you with this trailer and this particular moment. Where were you? What were you doing? Go for it.
I was streaming the Nintendo Direct is when I saw that, and then it was just like a whole lot of Mika doing like, oh my gosh, like a little kid doing like this sort of thing. And I think I was just kind of in shock the whole time, just like, oh my gosh, this is happening. Oh guys, I want it. I want to play it.
Yeah, it really screams that, doesn't it? Honestly, that little, because Iris is out, I just feel like it's like, okay, so you're asking, I just want to jump through that actual opening. And so then, but like, so that's just me as that 9-year-old watching. But then the 33-year-old, having done Kojima podcasts and even before that, just like analyzing meanings of things. So that irising out is actually, I believe, a direct, it couldn't really be anything else, really, is that when, wake up, Link, wake up, From the first one there's the light, like coming into consciousness that way. What a beautiful, deliberate choice, and a great way of saying, like, we're the sequel, but when that eye does open, like, we're not in some cave, waking up after hibernation. We are plummeting through not only the sky, but what could be the sky tens of thousands of years ago.
Right.
So, and what is your vibe on that? The idea of playing this, Grecian, sandals wearing, come on, this version of the ancient Link, I guess you could say,
Yeah, like, I've seen some ideas saying that maybe there's 2 different Links in it, that there's like ancient Link and then current Link, and you're going back and forth. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I imagine no matter what they're going to do, it's going to be wonderful. Okay. I'm thinking it's just going to be the one Link. And the only reason I say that is just because you had a whole bunch of outfits in the first Breath of the Wild, and like his hairstyle changed from outfit to outfit also. But I just don't know when everything is taking place. Like, I don't know if like if it's going to start off with him wearing the little champion's tunic and then later goes into like changing into the toga looking thing.
Toga, yeah.
Because he has like that one open shoulder thing.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But I could definitely see, like you had mentioned it before, especially with Zelda having like the short hair, like could be disguising herself as Link at times. Like, I don't. If you're gonna cut your hair that short after it being so long and pretty for so long, she didn't go through a nasty breakup.
No.
And so that's not the reasoning. No. She didn't get bangs, so again, no nasty breakup, and she didn't change her hair color. So all of that would point to she went through a nasty breakup or something like that happened. But none of that happened.
Yes, exactly. And so for me with this one, it's like, the one thing that stops it obviously from seemingly, at least, because again, things are still very vague, and editing is a trick that people play to kind of make sure it's like, hey, you've seen it but you don't know the context, is we see that arm, and obviously it's very likely that this is just Link with this new arm, and people are running off with that. But like I said, and I like that you're part of that, the resistance of like, who the hell knows what it means, man. We deliberately haven't seen this character's face, like as if that they would keep that deliberately. That
did seem odd. I'm like, okay, we didn't see this person's face. Is that because when he was flying, like, is that Link?
Yeah.
And the only reason it makes me think it's not Zelda is just because like the shirt was open in the front. I'm going, okay, they're not gonna have like Zelda free boobin like through here. But
well, you know what? The actual sorry. Now people were wondering, but now like you revealed the title. It is actually The Legend of Zelda Free Boobing. That's the title.
Free Boobing. Oh, okay. Well, they said they didn't want to give away the title because it would give away too much about
Amanda
the game.
has broken NDA. This stream is actually
sorry, Nintendo. I told you all I wouldn't tell.
Free Boobin with Jerky Ganon is actually the full title of. Okay, so Which is your favorite, freeboobing or Jerky Ganon from this episode so far? What do you reckon?
I mean, I do like Jerky Ganon.
Okay.
Yeah, I like freeboobing with Jerky Ganon. I like it together. I like it together, freeboobing with Jerky Ganon.
What am I doing here, Amanda? Look at that.
Okay, we're doing some compare and contrast here.
So this here,
and it looks very similar.
I wanted to bring this up. This is an amazing work of art
of
pretty. Our little fallen angel character here. So the original painting is actually by Alexandra Cabanel. So I think maybe in the 1800s, called Fallen Angel. And that is, I believe, Lucifer being cast from the skies, right?
Okay.
And so, the exact year is 1868. And then you have this incredibly talented artist, which I will name now, is Malint Falk. So Malint Falk, and the link will be in the description. It's crazy. It is honestly like, and I'll just zoom. I'll get my little pointer on right here. This especially the eye of that like scorned god, and then right there, boom, perfectly captured, frankly, this idea of us, that's again another thing that's never been done, is we've never played anyone outright villainous. So a couple of the theories out there is that we're playing as a young Ganon or a young version incarnation of whatever. Like, what would you feel? And just to kind of make the Zelda audience feel something a bit different is like, guess what? You're playing as this lovely, charming Link type character, you're really connecting with them. And you know what? About 10 hours in, you find out that you're like, that's Ganon. You've been playing Ganon this whole time, and you're playing this, you know what I mean? Because again, we have this freedom with the premise of Zelda of having all these different reincarnations and different iterations. What would you think of like a mid-game twist where you realize like, oh wow, it's like basically asking us for the first time in Zelda, like that gray area of like, how do I feel about playing this character who is this You mentioned you enjoyed like the Gerudo culture. What if we actually get inside the mind of Ganon with this game and we play as them, like in a Raiden, Metal Gear Solid 2 kind of way? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be cool because it lets you see things from his perspective. I think that's why people like Darth Vader, is because you kind of get into his head that he's a likable villain, and I think it would be really cool and it would just make the ending so much more meaningful if you had like a relationship with Ganon, like you knew each other or something, or it's like once you know him personally, it like hurts a whole lot harder to have to fight him. And so like to get to know him, because we never really know why Ganon is the way he is. It's just, here's evil guy, he's greedy. Here's evil guy, he's greedy. Okay, what made him evil and what made him turn greedy like this? Like, because he wasn't born that way. That's right. And Abby, she, dropped this, what's ended up becoming this kind of bombshell, really, that I've been thinking, and it's so interesting, the figure dropping, like the truth dropping, like this character, is the idea of this rise of Ganon, like this rise of like the story finally being literally unearthed of what an interesting arc that would be from us, like doing, Zeltic and the Nintendo Black Crisis, Hyrule Gamers, they're all running with, Zelda, his evil is rising and evil is rising. What if by the end of Breath of the Wild 2, we're like, oh man, when I see that jerky Ganon, I feel bad because like he maybe died sacrificing himself for something, and then just like this fallen, I think Malink is really onto something with what if there was some great injustice done to Ganon, and that is why he became evil and why the spirit of demise was able to infect him. Right, and that's possible for sure.
Yeah, like the Darth Vader, you said it very, very eloquently, and just perfect analogy is the Darth Vader. It's like he's still evil, he's still this kind of this icon of evil in pop culture, but with those prequels we have this dimension to him which some people can take or leave. But I think even coming off of the lessons of the prequel trilogy, that they would have this opportunity to really just nail it. And like I mean, the Zelda, this isn't arrogance or anything, it's observably tangible. They're in the nailing it business. They're in the business of nailing it, these Zelda people. The Zelda standards. So you've raised so many awesome little tidbits there, Amanda. Yeah. Amazing. Okay, so plummeting towards this, people have done all kinds of map analyses and stuff. It honestly feels very heavenly, like a bit Mount Olympus-y, especially with like the sandals and stuff. Yeah. There's some talk, speaking of Mount Olympus, like the gods, the realm of the gods, the twilight, not the twilight, the sacred realm. What's your over under on us maybe visiting like the domain of the goddesses? Maybe even, guess what, bomb drop, 3, 2, 1, meeting incarnations of the deities themselves, the three goddesses, who are these disembodied, like they're so like set into the mythology. What if we get to have dialogue options and speak with these incarnations, like the Age of Myth?
That would be cool. That would be cool. I could see like especially Zelda meeting with them.
Hylia, they're like, oh, hey, little sister, we know you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I vibe that. Just, what triggered it specifically? First of all, you and I are Disney buffins. I get it. Hercules Disney, they're filming it now, actually. Isn't that, or casting it rather, the live action?
Oh, okay. I didn't realize they were doing, I knew they were doing live action of everything else. I didn't realize they were doing Hercules.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And
I love Hercules.
You like it? Come on. I
love Hercules.
Man, if I had my editing, I'll get there. I'll have clips and everything. It'll be faster, this new setup. But if I would have cut to this thing of, that intro song. Come on. Just don't you mean so Hercules?
Honey, you mean Hercules?
That's right. Okay, we've got pretty low latency. We could do a bit of a sing-off, like when he smiled, the girls went wild with
oohs and eyes.
Yes.
Then he slapped his face on every face, on every vase.
So fucking good. Excuse me. The language, it comes out from a place of love. I just, who puts the glad in Gladiator, Amanda?
Hercules.
Whose daring deeds make great theater?
Hercules. Is he bold?
Yes, Hercules. I love the very academic answer. Like I'm throwing it to you all singing, and you're like, "Who put the glad in Gladiator?" And you're like,
Hercules.
Hercules. Okay, well,
It's a great theater. Hercules.
Are we gonna have to call this episode Herculink?
Herculink.
Herculink.
Right. What do you mean, Honky Link?
Oh, Honky Link.
Honky Link.
All right, I'm clipping that one up just for you. I'm really like on Instagram. You can share that around. Honky Lees.
Honky Link.
Honky Link. Bye. Honky Link. Okay, let's go. Honky Link hurtles towards heaven. Honky Link hurtles heartily heavensward. All right, or down to Hyrule or whatever. Okay, Skyrule. Some people are saying Skyrule. What do you think of the word Skyrule?
Skyrule? Interesting. I just like calling it the ruins of Skyloft. Is what I'm kind of looking at it as.
And Amanda just proved that often we say interesting when really we mean that's pretty shit, mate. I don't like that.
that's my Georgia coming out at me being like,
I love it.
I gotta be polite. My Southern politeness coming out.
No, I love it. I love it. And I'm just gonna say it. Made in Georgia. All right. The dagginess is real. Hurtling. We're literally 27 minutes in, holding this amazing shot. What else do we get from this little? The whole damn sequence, lady, is just hurtling. Let's give it one more shot. Okay, we'll be a bit naughty.
Okay.
And we'll end it on the 31-second mark. Clutch my pearls, dear goodness. And just to break down what we're seeing here with this palette shift into the blue, and you can see it on my face, obviously, with what I'm looking at. The amended glider. First of all, I don't know, when I was a kid watching Secret Innim, I wanted to be Jeremy the Crow. I wanted to be able to fly, That's why the loft wings absolutely speak to me. Do you reckon we're going to have something with this glider where we will be able to, power it up to the point where we can actually fly with it up there? We don't actually have a gauge anymore. What's your vibe on the glider in Breath of the Wild?
That'd be cool. I mean, I will definitely have the glider again. I'd like to see the loft wings again. I think that'd be neat. I wish we could do the loft wings like at nighttime, where they could wear like some goggles and fly around at night.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, because of, and it's so funny. I was just, because we do Avatar podcast stuff, is the first time, it's like the reason why Neytiri puts the thing, it's like, well, obviously you're going at blinding speeds on the back of these things. So you actually have to have a visor of some kind. Like, that would be cool. And I'm going to manifest this because loft wings, I told the listeners last episode, is I have a little, it's not a real shrine, although I might have to make it real to make sure it happens, is I have a Loftwing shrine that I pray to. It's like, please, let's just have Loftwings in Breath of the Wild too. Like, whatever you need to do. It's the same thing I do for Dragon Age. I say, please let us have griffins. Like, let us fly around on those things, Camo. Shamon. Shamon is from Rush Hour. I really like Rush Hour.
Okay, cool.
With like Jackie Chan and Shamon. Yeah. Shamon. All right. But for me, and I'll throw this back to you, is we're looking at the continents there. We're looking at, frankly, this is not just an entirely secondary environment. Like, that's something that I just realized, Amanda. We may be looking at a game that we don't actually return to the surface. It's gonna be like they're gonna I think that, you know what, I'm gonna say they're gonna commit to, no, like, you don't get the same map. I know that I love Commonwealth Realm. He's like, oh, we're gonna get all 3 maps. It's like, no, I actually think, same with Elden Ring, which we do as well, like the earth will have shattered, like the map will be permanently changed. Because I'm looking, if you look at this frame, Amanda, you zoom in, that's a very detailed and broad environment. So I think, oh my God, 80% of this game in the sky. I'm just going to say,
I think we're definitely going to be in the sky a fair amount. And especially just because there's all those like floating islands. And again, for it to be coming out so quickly after the Skyward Sword HD, I think they were trying to like kind of set up a mood thing sort of for it. For sure.
That's it for me. And so maybe we'll, as my thing to kind of leave, you know, as the listeners are like pushing their prams or like studying or whatever, I leave you off with this, my hype note, and I'll throw it to you for your hype note, is, so start of the game, we're underground. Like, that's a thing. It's a sequence, and it's fully like, it starts where the trailer starts. I would say the first maybe hour or so, we're maybe doing a block puzzle or whatever to then open the crypt of Ganon, right? And that's like a proper, and what that'll be nice for is actually, you know, Amanda, one of the things, and I believe in artistic integrity balanced with taking on some like listener and or player feedback in this case. But obviously artistic integrity winning out the vision or whatever. But what I do see them saying is like, okay, we hear you. We're actually intrigued based off of your feedback with the idea of more traditional Zelda dungeons. So guess what? We're going to open Breath of the Wild 2 with a traditional Zelda dungeon, which will be everything like, oh, hey, Zelda, push that block. And then introducing, I'm just going to say it. I really hope I get to clip this out later. And I was right. Who knows? Literally, Breath of the Wild 2 opens with you as like Zelda. Like, you actually start playing with as Zelda.
Oh yes!
Right? How amazing! It would be hype. It would literally destroy the internet. Like second one from all the playthroughs, Twitch going crazy.
It would be nothing but screaming. The opening of every single person's playthrough would just be screaming.
1,000,000,000%. And then we say, oh, okay. And then it's like Z targeting Link. And so you as Zelda are learning the Z targeting system. You know how it works. Like, look over here, you know. And then we go, and it's this lovely throwback to like Zelda's dungeon crawling, but then this giant leap forward of like playing as Zelda, yeah? And so then we're doing this thing, learning the tutorials, and it is in this fairly safe environment, fairly closed in of like figuring out, it's like, oh, princess, you know? And again, fuck it. I know I said that we should have them separate, but screw it. Let's live the dream. Let's have it together, where it's the Link speaking, you know, and then us playing as Zelda, right? Doing this kind of block puzzly type, you know, Zelda, you know, open the Crypt of Ganon. And then from there, guess what? And then, honestly, if Zelda, and I love Zelda, she's coming back. She's the goddess. The feminine leads this whole saga. It's in the name. I love that. The sacred feminine. But she does fall, she drops. And then not only as Link, we're Link again. And we've risen all the way up to the sky in this like Hyrule environment. The old map from Breath of the Wild 2 is gone, or at least we'll only ever return in the same way as when, you know, Skyward Sword. You return, but like the surface is like, you know, okay, it's dangerous and maybe fraught, and like the main story will be told in the sky. And the quest is not only to rescue Zelda, but then to play as her. Like the reward of finding Zelda is to play as Zelda. What do you reckon of that?
Ooh, that'd be cool. I especially like the way like it would be starting out, just the idea of just starting off in a dungeon. And I think it'd be cool if you heard Link's voice before you saw him. Yeah. So you're like trying to figure out like who's talking, you know, you hear like who's talking to Zelda. Yeah. Is that Link like, talking to Zelda? And then like she turns and then there he is and he says something. And then like, you know, that's when everybody just like loses their minds. And that could also be like when Zelda like falls or whatever. That could also be like when Link loses his arm. Yeah. Because that's got to take place, I'm guessing, early on in the game. And I'm guessing Zelda falling and when they open it up and she falls and Ganon's there and the malice comes everywhere. I think that's where it like eats his arm and he somehow gets up skyward and Zelda's somewhere.
And then what would be great is another thing that, you know, Final Fantasy IX did this, is you actually jump between characters. There's like,
yes, I love Final Fantasy IX.
Oh, then your Final Fantasy podcast, girl, you're gonna be on that one. It's gonna be great.
Woo!
Yes, we are actually Venn diagrammed quite closely with the Final Fantasy Union. Lauren is great, Daryl is great, and when 16 happens, like, I'm roping you into that too. Again, no pressure ever, but the offer is there.
Okay,
for sure. You just gave some amazing tidbits. Oh, well, not just like, it's just been the endless Amanda's energetic and just generosity show. Like, Amanda, like, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on. This was fun.
Did you enjoy it? You had a good time?
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm very, very, very glad. And that actually ties us off into the 1 hour and a half-ish, which is like just that, you know, rough window. Although, you know, that we could do Hunky Link forever. We could Hunky Link talk forever.
Gosh, I could just do Disney sing-alongs all day long.
And here's another thing I'll say from just, you know, there's Pegasus, right? From that
I have a, where is he?
Okay, here we go. Tangents, here we go. Oh my lord. I vibed that out, and like, baby.
And he has a long tail.
Yeah. Oh.
And then I have another baby Pegasus with like a blanket, because every time I see Pegasus merch at Disney, I have to get it.
Well, now you've just given me the rest of where I was vibing with that, because I sort of flow into and out of. I'm just gonna say, okay, I'll work with you, Nintendo. Baby Loftwings, okay, Loftwing hatchlings. All right, that's all I need to say. Like, and then and you can grow your little hatchling Loftwing, and we have some theories about like being able to jump through time and chime in with like a certain Korok character. It's like, oh, you get to, like the baby Groot thing. You can see them as a little potling, and then as like a plantling or whatever.
I would cry. I would just cry, because I see cute animals and I just start crying.
Oh, well, then you're living right. It means you're very like hard on your sleeve, living. Also, overall as a human being, you're living extremely well. Like, good energy. Like, keep being who you are and doing what you do. Seriously.
Oh, thank you. So,
lovely, and giant hugs to your husband. Giant hugs from Australia.
Giant hugs from Australia. Got it.
You nailed the accent, but I'll try with Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia. Right? No?
You did good, because you didn't say the second T in Atlanta, and so that's like how you know you're saying it right.
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Perfect.
Atlanta. Okay, cool.
There you go.
All right.
That was perfect, actually.
Atlanta, Mastodon. Atlanta. Okay,
there you go. Yeah.
Skills. Well, then, yeah, your family here. I will go over there and just bring you guys so many Tim Tams, so much.
Yeah, I mean, we've got my game room doubles as a day bed here, so
okay.
That's where I sleep when I have a migraine, because like I can't have anything moving around me, so that's just where I end up.
Yes, 1000%. I believe in the cozy nook in the house to like.
This is my migraine room when like my husband's moving, when it's like nighttime and I can't sleep. I'm like, everything hurts.
Oh,
I've got a cat on my head. I have to come in here.
Please do. And you sounds like you bagged a good one. What's his name, by the way? If he Dan. Migraine room. We're gonna go migraine manor, so that she can have a whole manor to herself, to just let this migraine find its way out of my system at some point. You know.
Yep.
Okay. Literally, have an amazing rest of your day. I will start editing this straight away, and we'll get you back on another one. Okay.
Okay, works for me.
Giant hugs. Be well. Bye. Take it easy.
See you later. Bye.